What if I told you that Lil Durk just made hip-hop history? Not from a studio, not from a label rollout, not even from a private jet, but from his Apple Watch. Yeah, you heard that right. The man just dropped a full song from his wrist, like it was the infinity gauntlet of the rap game. And the internet, completely losing its collective mind. This isn't just innovation. This is chaos wrapped in a digital flex. Forget started from the bottom. Durk just started from the wrist up. It's the kind of headline that makes Elon Musk pause mid-tweet and say, "Wait, how?" Fans thought it was a prank, haters called it a glitch. And yet, there it was. A fully mastered, studio-quality track, released straight from a device usually used to count steps and read texts from your ex. Some are calling it marketing genius. Others are saying it's witchcraft. But one thing's for sure. This move just made the entire music industry look prehistoric. Because when Lil Durk decides to drop music, apparently he doesn't need an album rollout. Just Wi-Fi and a pulse. Stay locked in, because this story only gets crazier from here. It all started on what seemed like a completely ordinary day. No leaks, no teasers, no warning. Just Lil Durk, casually minding his business, wearing a black hoodie, iced out chain, and that signature look like he's seen every betrayal in 4K. But by the end of that day, he had the entire rap industry sitting upright, wiping their eyes and saying, wait, he did what from his wrist? The moment the story broke, the internet stopped like it had just seen Tupac alive in 2025. Blogs, fans, and even tech geeks who couldn't tell a bar from a barcode were posting headlines like, Lil Durk defies logic, releases music straight from Apple Watch. And the memes? Instant classics. One showed Durk holding his wrist up to a microphone saying, "Yo, turn my watch up in the mix." Another read, "When your Fitbit drop harder than your mixtape." But let's rewind. How did we even get here? Because Lil Durk wasn't supposed to be doing this. He wasn't supposed to be out-teching Silicon Valley like a rap scientist. The man's from Chicago. The streets raised him, not Steve Jobs. He's not a product of Apple. He's a product of adversity. But somehow, against all odds, Durk merged the streets and Silicon Valley like he just unlocked a new rap superpower. Word first started spreading in the most Durk way possible. Sneaky and savage. He went live on Instagram, no captions, no explanation, just pure flex energy. He lifted his wrist, tapped the screen, and boom, music started playing. Not just beats, his music. Studio quality, bass heavy, mixed, mastered, and dripping with that OTF sound. Fans thought it was a joke. Some said it was a skit, others said maybe his Bluetooth was glitching. But then seconds later, a notification popped up on Apple Music that said, "Now playing Lil Durk, watch me drop, exclusive." The internet imploded. TikTok was instantly flooded with reactions. People screaming, fainting, and pretending to sync their own Apple Watches, thinking they could accidentally unlock new Durk songs. Someone even filmed a fake Apple employee pretending to take calls from panicked engineers like, "Sir, we didn't code this. Durk did." Meanwhile, fans flooded Twitter with theories that sounded straight out of a Marvel movie. Durk hacked Apple. Durk got a deal with Tim Cook. Durk found out how to time travel through 808s. But while everyone laughed and speculated, the truth, or at least the Durk version of the truth, was way more chaotic. Insiders say it all started during his last studio session in Atlanta. Durk had been frustrated with delays, technical issues, and, according to one engineer, the label moving slower than a 2003 computer on dial-up. Durk apparently got so irritated, he said, "I'm done waiting on everybody. I'ma drop it myself." Now, when most rappers say that, they mean they'll upload to SoundCloud or leak a track on Twitter. But Durk, he took "drop it myself" literally. According to sources close to the OTF camp, Durk was messing around with a new Apple Watch Ultra 2, customized, diamond encrusted, and reportedly synced to his private cloud storage. He jokingly told an engineer, "Imagine I just dropped this straight from the watch." The room laughed, except the engineer didn't. That same engineer, a tech-savvy producer nicknamed DJ Circuit, told Durk it was technically possible. With some coding magic, they could rig the watch to upload directly to streaming platforms through a private developer API. And that's when Durk allegedly said the 6 words that would shake the industry. "Do it then. Let's make history. For the next 48 hours, OTF studios turned into mission control. Engineers coding, Durk pacing, phones buzzing. According to leaks, Durk's watch was customized with a microserver, basically a pocket-sized studio hard drive. Using Apple's developer tools, his team bypassed normal distributor upload gates. Translation: Durk literally turned his watch into a record label. And when he pressed send, boom, within seconds the track appeared on every major streaming platform. Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, you name it. A drop so slick that even Apple's HQ in Cupertino thought it was a system breach. Some say the company temporarily locked Durk's account, thinking a hacker had broken in. Others say Apple called his management asking, "Did your client just drop from his wrist?" The first song, Watch Me Drop, wasn't just a random flex track either. It was a direct statement to the industry. The beat opened with the sound of a ticking watch, followed by Durk saying, "They clock my every move, now I drop on my time." You could almost hear the mic sizzling from how petty that was. Fans called it the most futuristic diss track ever. One lyric went, "Ain't no label on my wrist, just time and ambition. You talking contracts, I'm talking encryption." Bars. Tech bars. Literal encryption bars. The internet lost its mind again. Some fans swore he was dissing his label. Others said he was taking shots at rappers who brag about independence but still use distributors. Everyone was arguing. And Durk, silent. Not a tweet, not a comment, not even a caption. Just that sly, knowing grin in his next story. Then, Apple Music's official account posted a cryptic message that sent everything nuclear. First artist to release directly from an Apple device. Revolutionary. That post alone got over 2 million likes in an hour. Suddenly, every artist wanted to know how he did it. DMs were flying. Rumors of secret Apple partnerships spread faster than fake Drake lookalikes. Was this a one-time stunt? Or was Apple secretly testing a new feature with Durk as the guinea pig? One music exec told The Fader, "If Durk really bypassed traditional distribution, that changes everything." Another insider joked, "If artists can drop from a watch, every label's about to go extinct." Meanwhile, memes flooded Instagram faster than AI filters. People called it the wrist tape. Someone edited the cover of Durk's last album to show him holding his wrist instead of a mic. Others joked, Lil Durk just turned every artist into a clock chaser. But this wasn't just internet humor. It was a seismic cultural shift, because Durk had just done something no one in hip-hop had dared to do before. Fuse tech rebellion with street innovation. Think about it. Rappers talk about flexing chains, cars, and jets. Durk just flexed connectivity. He made Wi-Fi look gangster. He turned Apple Pay into Apple Play. And the craziest part? The track was actually good. Not just decent, good. Hard beats, raw storytelling, clean mix. It sounded like classic Durk. Pain, reflection, and triumph. All packed into 2 minutes of sonic precision. Fans said, "This man dropped more heat from his watch than some rappers drop from million-dollar studios." Of course, not everyone was happy. Critics called it a publicity stunt. Industry insiders said it was disrespectful to distribution partners. One executive even complained anonymously to Billboard, "You can't just let artists drop directly. That's chaos. That's anarchy." To which a fan replied in the comments, "That's hip-hop. Because that's the thing. Chaos is what hip-hop is. It's rebellion in rhythm form." And Durk, whether he meant to or not, just pulled one of the biggest acts of rebellion the music industry's ever seen. By day 2, YouTube reactors were dissecting the move like it was the Zapruder film. Titles like, "Lil Durk just outsmarted every label in America." "This Apple Watch drop is deeper than you think." "Durkio might have just changed music forever." One popular commentator even said, "This ain't just a song drop, this is digital warfare." And they weren't wrong. Because deep in the industry grapevine, whispers began circulating that other rappers were asking their teams, "Yo, can we do that too?" Even Travis Scott's engineer allegedly tweeted and deleted, "We're not supposed to talk about the Durk method, but before we get to the next wave of artists trying to copy the move, let's talk about the energy this created." Durk didn't just release a track, he started a movement. Within 48 hours, the hashtag JohnWatchDrop hit over 50 million views on TikTok. People started parodying it by pretending to rap into their own watches. One influencer even made a fake Apple X OTF commercial, showing Durk walking through Chicago like a tech messiah, saying, "Time waits for no man, unless it's me." Even Elon Musk couldn't resist chiming in. He tweeted, "If Lil Durk can drop music from a watch, I want to drop a mixtape from a Tesla." The man turned one stunt into a tech revolution, and he didn't even need to say a word. But here's the real twist. The story doesn't end with the release. It begins there, because after the Apple Watch drop went viral, reports started surfacing that Durk's little experiment might have caused major panic at some of the biggest record labels in America. Apparently, executives were freaking out, not because of the song's success, but because of what it represented. Durk had just proven something they'd all feared for years, that an artist, armed with creativity and tech, could completely bypass the system. That's right, no distributors, no middlemen, no marketing teams, just a rapper, a vision, and a device on his wrist. The music industry suddenly looked a lot less powerful, because if Durk could do it, who's to say Drake, Kanye, or Nicki couldn't do it next? And that's exactly when this story took its next insane turn. Because right after Durk's stunt, Apple's CEO himself, Tim Cook, allegedly reached out. Some claim he personally congratulated Durk for pushing innovation forward. Others swear it was a secret meeting offer. Either way, the connection between Durk and Apple just became the most unpredictable alliance in music history. So yeah, this isn't just a tech story. It's a revolution with diamonds, data, and Durk energy. And trust me, once the world saw who reacted next, the chaos reached levels no one could have predicted. Once Lil Durk's wrist-born song dropped, chaos became currency. Every corner of the internet had something to say. Bloggers were typing like their keyboards were on fire. Fans were dissecting waveforms like CSI agents. And every rapper within earshot suddenly remembered they owned an Apple product. It was like Durk had opened a portal. One, where street hustle collided with Silicon Valley innovation and created the most unexpected cultural earthquake since Kanye tried to sell white t-shirts as art. By the next morning, Lil Durk Apple Watch had become the #1 search phrase on Google. News anchors who could barely pronounce OTF were saying things like, "In today's shocking story, rapper Lil Durk has, debuted a full song from his wrist device." CNN called it an unprecedented technological moment. Twitter renamed itself Durk Talk. And the memes? Endless. One showed Steve Jobs looking down from heaven whispering, "He really did it." Another had Elon Musk tweeting, "Durk dropping from his watch before I dropped from Mars." Even Shaquille O'Neal got in on it, posting a video of himself pretending to rap into his Fitbit saying, "OTF force on the Fitbit." The internet was losing its collective mind. And Durk hadn't even spoken yet. He didn't post. He didn't explain. He didn't even blink. Just one new Instagram story. A close-up of the watch with the caption, "Timing is everything." That was it. No caption, no rollout, just a mic drop in the form of digital timekeeping. Meanwhile, inside the music industry, there was a full-blown panic attack. Label execs were reportedly holding emergency innovation meetings, which is industry code for a bunch of men in suits yelling about Wi-Fi. One anonymous insider told Variety, "If artists start dropping music directly through devices, we lose our gatekeeping power." Another was overheard saying, "We just got replaced by Bluetooth," and it wasn't just fear, it was jealousy, because in a matter of hours, Durk had achieved what every rapper dreams of. He became bigger than the system. Even the legends couldn't resist chiming in. 50 Cent reposted the story saying, "First rapper to drop from the wrist? That's some real street tech." Snoop Dogg tweeted, "Durk out here turning watches into studios." Next up, toaster collabs. Drake dropped a cryptic emoji of a wristwatch, followed by a zipper mouth face. Fans instantly started wild theories that he was studying the method. And then came the plot twist. The copycats. Within days, rappers everywhere tried to imitate Durk's move. Soulja Boy, obviously, claimed he did it first. "I dropped from my watch in 2018, he tweeted. Apple just wasn't ready. Blueface tried going live from his watch but ended up just FaceTiming himself by accident. Even DJ Khaled posted a video yelling, "I'm dropping an album from my smartwatch soon. Major key." Fans flooded the comments saying, "Khaled, it's called a Fitbit. Relax." But here's where the chaos turns cinematic. Rumor has it that Apple actually reached out to Durk privately. According to insiders, Apple's music division wanted to formally acknowledge the innovation. Translation: They wanted to figure out how he pulled it off without them knowing. One engineer leaked that Apple's internal Slack channel had a thread called Project Durk. Another source said, Apple security temporarily froze Durk's iCloud because their AI flagged his upload as impossible. At this point, Durk had basically become the Tony Stark of rap, except instead of an Iron Man suit, he had a diamond-encrusted Apple Watch and an empire of disbelief behind him. But it wasn't all love. While fans and celebrities were hyping him up, critics started throwing shade faster than a Miami palm tree. Some music journalists called it a gimmick for attention. One even wrote, Durk's Apple Watch drop is nothing more than an expensive PR stunt wrapped in faux innovation. Fans fired back instantly. Bro, your articles drop slower than his music, one tweet read. Another fan clapped back. It's not a gimmick when he literally hacked the system. And speaking of hacks, the conspiracy theories got wild. Some fans insisted Durk had a secret deal with Apple. Others said he collaborated with Elon Musk to test new tech. One particularly insane rumor claimed his watch was custom-built by NASA engineers and could store entire mixtapes offline. Someone even made a fake screenshot of DurkOS version 1.0. But while fans were busy building conspiracies, Durk's real fans, the OTF core, were busy turning the moment into a movement. Hashtags like Jammish Wrist Drop, Durk Tech, and John Watch Me Drop exploded. People started tagging their own Apple Watch selfies saying things like, waiting for mine to start rapping. Meanwhile, the actual song Watch Me Drop was climbing charts faster than a Kanye controversy. It hit #1 on Apple Music's trending list in under 6 hours, #2 on Spotify, and entered Billboard's top 20 with no official rollout. That's right. A song dropped from a wristwatch outperformed half the industry's million-dollar marketing budgets. And yet, through all of this noise, Durk stayed silent. Fans were begging for an explanation. Reporters wanted interviews. Tech YouTubers wanted tutorials. Still, nothing. Until he finally appeared in a surprise clip posted by Apple Music's official account. The 20-second video showed Durk sitting in a studio, arms folded, grinning. He simply said, I told y'all, I do this for real. They use computers, I use time. And then he turned his wrist toward the camera. The watch screen flashed the words, next drop loading, cue absolute pandemonium. That phrase alone had blogs predicting a full Durk x Apple partnership. One outlet claimed they were working on an official Durk edition Apple Watch that could stream exclusive songs. Others said Apple was building new music sharing features inspired by him. But then came the next layer of drama, because apparently Durk's stunt caused a minor meltdown at his label. Multiple insiders leaked that executives were blindsided and furious. Some even called it a breach of contract. They didn't authorize any release. They didn't approve distribution. Durk just did it. He literally bypassed the entire system. One executive reportedly shouted in a meeting, he can't just drop songs from his jewelry, to which someone allegedly replied, he already did. The situation grew so messy that according to industry insiders, Durk's label temporarily tried to pull the song from streaming platforms, but Apple allegedly refused, calling the drop artist-originated and compliant. Translation: too late. The people already had it. Durk had single-handedly outsmarted both the industry and the internet, but the madness didn't stop there. Other rappers started dropping diss tracks about it. One up-and-coming rapper posted a freestyle titled I Watch Who. Another claimed Durk stole the spotlight from the struggle. The internet immediately roasted them, saying you mad because your mixtape ain't even on SoundCloud, but his is on his wrist. And while the petty drama brewed, the memes evolved. Now people were editing Durk's head onto Steve Jobs' body, captioned Durk Jobs, revolutionary of the streets. Another viral meme showed him on the phone with Tim Cook saying, you work for me now. Meanwhile, fans discovered Easter eggs in the Watch Me Drop lyrics. Subtle clues suggesting this wasn't a one-off. One bar said, they clock my grind but can't time my shine. Next drop from my neck, just give me time. Fans went feral. Is Durk dropping from a chain next? Is he planning to drop from AirPods? Is he making his own streaming platform? OTFify. Even Billboard couldn't ignore it anymore. They released a headline that read, Lil Durk redefines the term independent artist. And just when you thought it couldn't get any crazier, Apple officially confirmed the impossible. Lil Durk's release was real. Their press statement read, We commend artists who use Apple technology in new, creative ways. Lil Durk's innovation demonstrates the power of connectivity and independence. Translation. They loved it. That's when every marketing executive in America threw their hands up. Because now, not only did Durk pull off the biggest flex of the year, but he'd done it with Apple's blessing. In less than a week, one rapper's random experiment had shaken the foundations of both hip-hop and big tech. And if people thought that was the end of the story, they were dead wrong. Because while the world was busy reacting, Durk was already plotting his next move, and it was about to make this look like child's play. The fallout from Lil Durk's Apple Watch stunt wasn't just viral, it was volcanic. In a single week, he had flipped the rap industry. Confused the tech world, and turned every streaming platform into a war zone of innovation and envy. The question wasn't if he broke the system, it was how many pieces it shattered into. By the time the smoke cleared, the numbers were staggering. Watch Me Drop had hit 300 million global streams in 6 days. Not promoted, not playlisted, just raw, unfiltered fan chaos. Spotify's own analytics dashboard reportedly crashed from sudden listener spikes in random countries. One engineer joked on Reddit, the servers thought the streams were bots. It was just Durk Nation. But this was bigger than music. What Durk did had cultural, financial, and psychological consequences. Overnight, he became the face of digital rebellion. Billboard called him the first true artist of the post-platform era. The Verge called him the rapper who outcoded capitalism. And while those headlines were dramatic, the truth might have been even wilder, because in the weeks that followed, Durk didn't just celebrate, he built. Insiders began whispering that Durk was setting up meetings with Apple execs, not to apologize, but to negotiate. Rumor has it, Apple wanted him as the face of a new music independence campaign. Something about empowering artists to drop directly through devices. Essentially, the system that freaked out over his stunt was now begging him to partner up. A photo leaked of Durk walking into Apple's Cupertino headquarters wearing an OTF varsity jacket and custom diamond-encrusted AirPods Max. The caption under the leaked image, "When the student teaches the genius." But while Durk was shaking hands with Silicon Valley billionaires, his peers were panicking. Dozens of rappers started pressuring their teams to learn the Durk method. Engineers were being bribed, labels were scrambling, and every artist suddenly wanted their wrist to have Wi-Fi. One anonymous Atlantic Records executive reportedly said, "If this becomes normal, we're finished. The next generation will drop music from smart fridges." And honestly, they weren't wrong, because Durk had cracked something deeper. He proved the middleman was optional. He showed that creativity, when paired with tech, could make an artist unstoppable. In a world where music distribution used to take months of approvals, he'd reduced it to a single tap on a touchscreen. Fans were calling it the Great Wrist Revolution. Memes turned prophetic. People joked, first Durk drops from a watch, next he's dropping a collab with Siri. A fake poster even went viral showing Lil Durk at Apple AI, time is money. Then, a new twist. Durk's watch drop accidentally triggered legal grey zones. Streaming platforms couldn't figure out how to classify it. Was it self-published, independently distributed, or something entirely new? Lawyers started calling it the Durk Clause. If your music could bypass normal infrastructure, who even owned it? Durk's response, a one-line tweet, "They don't own time." That tweet alone got 8 million likes. It wasn't just a caption, it was a manifesto. Meanwhile, the wave of innovation rippled outward. Young artists saw what he did and followed suit. Rappers in Nigeria, producers in Brazil, even indie singers in Japan started experimenting with device drops. SoundCloud forums called it the Durk era, but not everyone could handle it. Some artists tried and failed, crashing their apps or bricking their devices. One rapper claimed he lost 20 unreleased songs trying to replicate Durk's code. Another accidentally uploaded his grocery list instead of a track. And through it all, Durk kept quiet. Then 2 weeks later, he broke his silence with a post that sent fans into cardiac arrest. A video of him tapping his wrist again. Then a flash on the screen. "Watch 2, coming soon." The clip cut to black. That's it, no date, no details, no explanation. The internet immediately split into factions. Was this a sequel drop? A visual project? A collaboration with Apple? Some fans theorized he was working on an audio NFT that only played on Apple Watches. Others said he was coding an entire mixtape inside the device. Within 24 hours, the hashtag #WatchToo had over 100 million impressions. It trended higher than a presidential debate. Even YouTube reactors started scheduling live streams titled, "Waiting for Durk's Watch to Speak." And then came the first real bombshell. An Apple insider anonymously emailed tech blog McRumors, revealing that Durk had indeed partnered with Apple engineers to develop a new feature called Tap Drop. It allowed verified artists to upload music straight from personal devices to streaming platforms, completely bypassing traditional distributors. The leak was quickly deleted, but screenshots spread everywhere. Tech reviewers hailed it as the democratization of music. Record labels called it the end times. And fans? They called it Durk's revenge. But it wasn't just Apple feeling the heat. Spotify's CEO publicly commented for the first time saying, "We're open to innovation, but not chaos." Translation, they were terrified. Meanwhile, TikTokers started using Durk's track as the soundtrack for Innovation Flex videos. People pretending to drop projects from random gadgets, dropping my album from my microwave, dropping beats from my Roomba. The absurdity only fueled the hype. And still, Durk wasn't done. Weeks later, he appeared at a small concert in Chicago. Mid-performance, he stopped the music, held up his wrist, and said, "Y'all thought I was done playing?" The crowd roared. He tapped the screen, and suddenly, a new beat dropped. Live, exclusive, from the watch. That one gesture sent shockwaves through hip-hop history. Fans captured it, posted it, and within hours, that short clip became the single most viewed concert moment of the year, Rolling. Stone dubbed it the most iconic flex in modern rap. GQ called it the perfect collision of street and silicon. But behind the scenes, some insiders worried Durk was walking a fine line. Bypassing contracts meant bypassing payouts. Labels reportedly threatened legal action, claiming unauthorized releases. Lawyers warned this could become the Napster moment of the streaming generation. Durk's response, another tweet. "I ain't breaking rules, I'm breaking routines." That single line summed it all up. He wasn't rebelling for rebellion's sake. He was evolving. He'd turned technology into a weapon and independence into an art form. Then, the final twist, the Watch 2 drop. In the middle of a random Tuesday, fans noticed something strange. Their Apple Watches buzzed, even those who weren't following Durk. A notification popped up. Lil Durk, Watch 2, available now. People thought it was a glitch, but when they opened Apple Music, it was real. The new track was titled Time Don't Lie, and the beat, a masterpiece. Clean, haunting, and filled with digital textures that sounded like the ticking of a clock. The lyrics hit harder than ever. "I was late to peace, but early to pain, they counted me out. Now I'm counting my gain. From the wrist to the world, I ain't playing for fame. I'm just teaching the system to say my name." Fans called it spiritual. Critics called it historic. Tech blogs called it a disruption milestone. Within hours, Time Don't Lie hit #1 in 37 countries. Apple officially confirmed Durk was the first artist to utilize tap drop technology. They even added an Easter egg to Siri. When you asked, "Who changed music this year?" Siri responded, "Lil Durk did." That line alone cemented his legacy, but the cultural ripple kept expanding. Universities started teaching the Durk drop as a case study in media innovation. One Harvard Business Review headline read, "How Lil Durk outsmarted the industry and invented a new one." Meanwhile, conspiracy corners insisted Durk's watch had secret AI features. Some said he'd partnered with an underground coding collective. Others claimed he was secretly building a blockchain-based platform. Through it all, Durk just kept smiling in silence, calm, confident, and one step ahead of the future. And that's the beauty of it. He didn't need to scream. He didn't need to brag. His actions said everything. He was no longer chasing the crown. He'd invented a new throne. By the time the dust settled, one truth was clear. This wasn't just a viral moment. It was evolution. The kind that changes an industry forever. Because Durk didn't just drop music from his watch. He dropped a blueprint for freedom. He taught an entire generation of artists that the only real, gatekeeper is the one inside your imagination. And as for the rest of the world, they're still trying to catch up. Because while everyone else is checking the time, Lil Durk's already living in the future. And there you have it, the moment hip-hop officially leveled up. Lil Durk didn't just drop a song, he dropped a revolution. From his wrist, while the rest of the industry was stuck arguing about first-week numbers, Durk was out here redefining what dropping heat even means. Forget studios, forget labels, forget release dates. All he needed was Wi-Fi and a pulse. From the trenches of Chicago to the clouds of Cupertino, this man just proved that innovation doesn't wear a suit. Sometimes it wears diamonds and an Apple Watch. He turned a gadget into a gospel, a device into a declaration, and an accessory into an arsenal. The question now isn't who's next, it's who's brave enough to try. But before you slide off this video, let's make it clear. This kind of chaos deserves conversation. Smash that like button like Durk smashed the system. Drop your hottest take below. Is he a genius, a rebel, or both? And hit subscribe, because around here on The Rap Truth, we don't just watch history happen. We narrate it, roast it, and break it down bar for bar. Turn those notifications on, because the next drop, the next beef, or the next wild headline might already be loading. And trust me, when it hits, you'll want to be here first. When it hits, you'll want to be here first. This is The Rap Truth, where rumors get receipts, where bars get decoded, and where legends don't just rap, they rewrite reality. Stay tuned, stay loud, and remember, in a world full of clocks, only the bold make time stop. The Rap Truth, signing off.